You have $9 billion, that's $9,000 million missing in the last few years. It's alleged to be fraudulently stolen. They're sending money, the Somali community in Minnesota sending money, big money, overseas. They're contributing money, big money, to Democrat candidates and elected officials. The Democratic political machine in Minnesota has benefited from this criminal network of Somali immigrants who have systematically stolen billions of dollars of federal charitable money, essentially.
Hold up, stop scrolling for a second. Did you catch that number? $9,000 million, that's $9 billion of taxpayer money allegedly evaporating in Minnesota. Gone. Poof. And now we're about to watch Representative Clay Higgins, yeah, Captain Clay, walk into Congress and light a match under the Minnesota Democrat establishment. This isn't about sloppy accounting or clerical mistakes. Higgins is talking about something far darker, an organized criminal operation allegedly running in plain sight right under Governor Tim Walz's administration. We're talking about child care facilities that don't actually have kids. Federal money being rerouted overseas. And worst of all, insiders who tried to blow the whistle getting punished instead of protected. And here's where things get uncomfortable. If you've ever wondered why certain politicians, Ilhan Omar included, are relentlessly pushing mass migration with almost no vetting, this might explain it. Because what's emerging doesn't look like community building. It looks like a system designed to turn an entire state into a cash pipeline, one that fuels political power through fraud.
And Ms. Robbins, you're the chair of the Fraud Prevention Oversight Committee, is that correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Hudson and Ms. Rarick, you're members of that committee as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
All right, so you three collectively, America should clearly understand you have an excellent perspective what's going on inside Minnesota, and specifically regards to the fraud that we are investigating and discussing today. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So we have a particular community, the Somali community in Minnesota, that has stunning percentages are participating in government programs where they're drawing a lot of money, big money. This has been discussed and revealed and reported and is factual. You have a tremendous amount of criminal fraud taking place that one of my colleagues, the gentleman from the other side of the aisle, mentioned transparency. I would argue that from a regular American's perspective, it's quite transparent that something criminal is going on when you have billions of dollars disappearing into child care centers with no children in them, and you have a tremendous transfer of wealth into a relatively small immigrant community. You have $9 billion, that's $9,000 million missing in the last few years. It's alleged to be fraudulently stolen. They're sending money, the Somali community in Minnesota sending money, big money, overseas. They're contributing money, big money, to Democrat candidates and elected officials. The Democratic political machine in Minnesota has benefited from this criminal network of Somali immigrants who have systematically stolen billions of dollars of federal charitable money, essentially. The good lady, my colleague, clarified this is money designed for poor folk that need a hand up. And we generally want that to happen in America in an effective manner. So this is the scenario that we are looking into today. Have I summed it up fairly well, Ms. Robbins?
Yes, sir. And I would just like to add...
Before you add, Mr. Hudson, is this an effective summary, sir?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you, Ms. Rarick.
Yes.
Thank you. So from the perspective of members of the Fraud Investigative Committee of the Minnesota State Legislature, we have a large criminal network with with high percentages of participation in that criminal network from the Somali community in Minnesota. That community has tremendous influence within the political arena, specifically within the Democrat political arena in Minnesota. The Democrat political machine has been covering for this criminal network, and here we go to Governor Walz's involvement here, which is shocking to me, quite frankly, because I've been friendly with Governor Walz for many years. I served with him here. But can you discuss for me the governor's administration's involvement in intimidation and oppression and retaliation against whistleblowers? Ms. Robbins, have you had conversations with whistleblowers who have been treated like that by the Walz administration?
Yes, I have.
And what can you tell us about that? Without naming the person or revealing stuff that's secret, tell us how that retaliation would happen.
So it happens in a variety of ways. They are demoted or reassigned, or they are told that they could lose their job and then their house or their pension or their retirement benefits or not qualify for unemployment. So it's...
Well, that's very serious. That's very serious allegation. I would say that's criminal retaliation. Mr. Hudson and Ms. Rarick, have you seen similar?
I would defer to Representative Rarick.
Yes, so Representative Robbins and once in a while Representative Hudson have had multiple conversations with whistleblowers, and that is exactly what they said to us, especially in a face-to-face meeting in St. Paul. That is exactly
unbelievable.
What they said.
Mr. Chairman, my time has expired, but this leans into the criminal spectrum, sir. I yield.
Wow. Just wow. Normally congressional hearings are a snooze fest. Endless legal jargon. Zero accountability. But Clay Higgins doesn't do polite discussion, he does interrogation. Let's break down what we just witnessed, because this goes way beyond Minnesota. Higgins didn't sugarcoat anything. He described what he believes is a criminal network operating within a specific immigrant community in the state. And you already know what happens next. Legacy media rushes in to attack him for even saying it. But instead of insults, Higgins came armed with data. He pointed to staggering levels of dependency on government assistance within that community. And this is the collision point of bad policy. Unchecked mass migration paired with limitless welfare spending. When assimilation disappears and accountability vanishes, corruption rushes in. This isn't about helping struggling families anymore. Higgins made it clear this is about wealth extraction. Billions of dollars allegedly siphoned off, sent overseas, and then cycled right back into U.S. politics as campaign cash. Think about that for a second. For years, Minnesota Democrats and figures like Ilhan Omar have told us this was all about compassion, about refuge, about kindness. But if Higgins is right, this wasn't charity, it was a business model. Bring people and lock them into government dependency, skim the funds, launder the money, and funnel it back to politicians who keep the machine running, a closed loop of corruption. And then there's the detail that sounds almost unreal. Child care centers with no children. That's the infamous Feeding Our Future scandal. Taxpayers were billed for feeding thousands of kids who didn't exist. Fake services, real money, you work, you pay taxes. And that cash allegedly ends up in shell operations that ship it overseas while the politicians in charge pretend not to notice. But here's the part that should really make your blood boil. Higgins turned his attention directly to Governor Tim Walz's administration. He questioned state lawmakers about retaliation against whistleblowers. And what did they admit? That people who spoke up were demoted, pushed out of their jobs, and even threatened with losing their pensions. Let that sink in. This isn't just corruption, it's intimidation. That's not how a democratic government behaves. That's how an organized crime outfit protects itself. If Governor Walz knew what was happening and allowed his administration to silence the people trying to stop it, then this doesn't end with resignations. It ends with investigations. Clay Higgins is doing something most politicians won't. He's connecting the dots. Mass migration, welfare abuse, political money laundering. Minnesota isn't an isolated case, it's a warning sign. If the country keeps embracing open borders and open checkbooks, every state is next. Credit where it's due. Representative Higgins asked the questions no one else would. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Tim Walz was part of the cover-up? And what do you make of that $9 billion figure? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next one.